Hey, welcome back, podcast friends. And in today's episode, I have been so excited about this, and I've been excited about this for several months now. This I'm going to interview Gary Colvin. This is a friend of mine that I'll let him tell his story. But as of this time, since in the last, I guess, what, 8 months,
Almost a year.
almost a year, and within the last year, he's lost 138 pounds, 134 pounds already, and he's off every one of his medications except one. And so, without further ado, I really want to get into this. So, Gary, thank you so much for offering to come on this podcast with us.
Thank you.
I
Thank you, Steve.
I
Good to
think
see you.
I think your story is going to really reflect with a lot of people, and I want them to know that this isn't voodoo. This
No.
really does work.
Absolutely does.
So I guess first off, what made you want to start the change? What made you want to lose weight and get healthy?
My wife and dad told me a few times about seeing videos on YouTube about people who are getting off sugar and the difference and how their bodies felt and everything. And then when I worked with you at the pharmacy, in that short time, you were talking about clean eating and the difference in the energy levels that people made. And I started listening to some of your podcasts, and then it just kind of opened up a rabbit hole. And I started researching stuff on YouTube and stuff. And then I just decided, I had just turned 55 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised I'd made it to 55, to be honest with you. And my health had deteriorated to the point where, I just felt like I was circling the drain anyway. And I thought, well, you know what, guy, it's time to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen the excitement in you and the, the things that you were telling and how much difference that it could make in people's lives just by changing the way they eat. I'd been on yo-yo diets my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
I would lose a bunch of weight and then fall off the wagon and turn around and pile it back on.
Yep.
The nearest had been like 2 years before I met you, and I'd lost 67 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was feeling quite a bit better, but I still wasn't feeling great.
Right.
And
Now, how did you do it at that time?
Low fat, low cholesterol, low calorie.
Which means you probably lost a lot of muscle mass during that time.
I did. Starvation diet.
Yeah.
Low energy. I was just like dragging the whole time.
Yeah.
Starving all the time.
Yeah.
Just absolutely feel like I could eat a horse.
Right.
And I finally just decided, well, yeah, I'm tired of this. So I went back to eating garbage again.
Yeah.
And put all the weight back on and then some.
So if you don't mind, how heavy did you get?
At my largest, I was 389 pounds.
389 pounds.
389 pounds.
And right now you're down to
234.
When was the last time you saw less than 200?
Less than 200?
Well, less than 300.
Less than 300. Let's see. I was under 300
before you started doing this.
Before I started doing this, oh goodness, 25 years.
You were over 300 pounds for the last 25 years.
Pretty close to 25. Let me think. 21 years. 21
really?
Years. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Was in a serious car accident.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I was at about 270 pounds. I was in a really bad car accident, and I was sedentary for a long time.
Yeah.
And just lost will for trying to even try to stay in any kind of shape. So I just ballooned up.
Right.
And got up to 389 pounds. And I was almost 5 years at home before even starting back into the workforce.
Oh my gosh. I couldn't even imagine.
So I got into absolutely horrible shape. Absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
Couldn't hardly walk, 50 feet, let alone do anything productive. Right. So I got back into the workforce and started getting back healthier again as far as, stamina, being able to walk and things like that. But I was still heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't losing weight, but I was still able to do things
Right.
more than what I was.
Right.
So, but after, after about 5 years, I went back in part-time work, just whatever I could do just to get out of the house and get
Right.
busy again.
Right.
And got back into full-time work and got healthier, but not healthy
Right.
by any means.
Yep.
Still battling weight, up and down yo-yo, lose weight, gain more weight back.
Energy, breathing.
Energy was terrible. Here about 2 years ago, I got into some problems with my breathing.
Mhm.
I mean, just not able to hardly catch my breath when I would walk out across
Right.
the yard. We have chickens at home. So I have a chicken house and I'd go out to feed the chickens and have to stop between the house and the chicken house 3 or 4 times, just going out there and back just to catch my breath.
Oh my
Because I was
gosh.
just I had nothing left.
Oh my gosh. That'd be horrible.
Get back in the house and just stand over the counter, leaning over, gasping for air.
Oh.
And at that point, I mean, I really thought that it was just about over because I was having some weird stuff going on in my sleep pattern, my dreams. I would sit up on the edge of the bed in the middle of the night, not knowing it, subconsciously
Right.
acting out the things in my dreams.
Right.
Fell out of bed, I don't know how many times. And it was scary.
Oh, I can imagine.
Scary.
So
Very
like
scary.
that's cleared up also?
Oh, absolutely. I had nothing. I sleep through the night now. I know I feel rested in the mornings.
Can you walk out to the chickens in one without stopping?
Multiple times.
Multiple times.
Multiple times, yeah. I can get out in the yard now and work out in the yard and drag brush and
Really?
yeah.
Things that you never thought you could do before.
Absolutely not.
You thought
I
you were
never thought I
done.
would be able to do any of this again.
Oh my gosh, that's one. Is there anything big that you really love to do that you used to be able to do and now you thought you would never be able to do it again and now you can?
Well, I have not went hunting. I used to always like deer hunting, but
Yeah.
after the car accident, I had my right leg was shattered basically from the hip down.
Yeah.
So they had to rebuild me. And then after I got so heavy, I wore my knees out.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I did have a knee replacement in July of last year. And that was another part of the reason that I went, on a better better way of eating to lose some weight.
Right.
That was the initial start of it. But I needed to be below 300 pounds before they would do a knee replacement surgery.
Right.
Well, I beat that within 4 months.
Yeah. What'd your physician say?
They're like, I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing, you should just keep it up. I'm like,
good.
absolutely.
Good.
And I never did tell my PCP that I was on a carnivore diet.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
They
freak out when they hear stuff they don't understand.
Exactly. when I first got a primary care provider over in Bolivar, they ran my first blood work, and my A1C was at 7.5. My triglycerides were 239.
Mm-hmm.
Cholesterol was out of range.
Yeah.
It was not good. And after about 90 days, I went back to get my blood work done after starting this.
Uh-huh.
Went back to get my blood work done, and my A1C had went from 7.5 down to 5.7.
Oh my gosh.
So
after
the numbers.
After 3 months?
After 3 months.
That's crazy.
My cholesterol was in range. My triglycerides went from 239 to 80.
Oh, that is wonderful. Do you by any chance remember your HDLs?
HDL went from, I believe it was,
I was
40. I think I had sent you the results.
So I was thinking, I couldn't remember, it was high 30s,
yeah,
low 40s. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, the HDLs actually dropped whenever I started this.
Really?
But I think, from what I gathered, by not drinking a good enough filtered coffee,
Yeah.
that it can kind of skew the numbers.
That can, because there are molds and stuff that get in some coffees, and that can affect some things. But
Yeah.
usually just by eating more fat and cholesterol, which that's what you're doing,
Yeah,
which is what everybody, it
Right.
scares everybody because they've been, brainwashed by the food manufacturers for so many years. They think, oh my gosh, that's horrible. They don't realize it's vital to our health.
Absolutely.
And that's really the main thing that will rate your HDLs, which is the good cholesterol. That's what you want.
Right.
But usually it's eating fat because your HDLs are made inside your intestines. And so the fat is what increases your HDLs. And that's what's very protective for the heart and other things in the body too.
Right.
So I'll be curious to see when you get your new labs,
Yeah.
what that does.
I need to get an appointment with my PCP and get some new work done. But I've not been sick other than this cold that I had here a few weeks back.
Yeah. And that didn't linger, did it?
It did not. It did not last nearly as long. I lost my voice on the day we were supposed to be doing this.
Yeah, I remember that.
I lost my voice completely. I'd have been nothing but squeaky when we talked.
So what medications were you on that you're not on anymore?
Well, I was taking I was diagnosed with AFib back in 2014. And
just real quick, if you don't know what AFib is, that's atrial fibrillation, and that your heart has, it's kind of two pumps, but you have the top part, which is the atrium, and then you have the bottom part, which is ventricles. So usually the heart pumps the atrium and then the ventricles, atrium, ventricles, and so that's what pumps the blood through you. But if you have AFib, that's fibrillation. Fibrillation, you kind of think of it like a can of worms. Instead of the top part of the heart pumping, where you're pumping like this, it just moves like a can of worms. And so you never really get very much blood pumped down to the ventricles, so you can't get that much out. So it's a very scary thing when you do that, because you want the heart to pump in synchronicity with each other, and that's how God made us. So when I heard him say this, it blew my mind, because I hear of getting off all kinds of meds, never heard of getting off something for AFib. And he was on flecainide. And tell him what happened, what you did, because I didn't recommend this. He did it, and I was amazed. I thought, this is fantastic. You got to tell him.
Well, when I was originally diagnosed with AFib, they put me on 50 milligrams of flecainide twice daily, along with carvedilol, and I was taking a 6.25 of the carvedilol. Well, I still wasn't eating right, so my bouts of AFib were getting more severe and longer lasting. So as the years went by, they had increased my amounts of medications to where I was taking 25 milligrams of carvedilol twice daily.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was also taking 150 milligrams of flecainide twice daily. And I noticed that my PVCs were still happening, but I really wasn't having like bouts of breakout bits of AFib.
Right. And you could tell, you could actually feel it when it's fibrillating.
Absolutely.
Like, okay.
I could, just feel like my heart was dancing.
Yeah.
And after I started this cleaner way of eating, I noticed that even like the PVCs were pretty much non-existent. And I'm like, well, that's pretty encouraging right there.
Yeah.
So as time went by, my blood pressure went from, even on medications, I was running in the like 160 over 95 range, which is pretty high.
And that was all blood pressure medication.
That was on blood pressure.
What blood pressure medication were you on?
The lisinopril with the hydrochlorothiazide.
Yep.
And I was taking 40 milligrams with the 25 milligrams of hydrochlorothiazide once a day.
Yep.
Along with the carvedilol. So I am now down to where I'm not taking any of the lisinopril hydrochlorothiazide at all.
Yep.
The carvedilol, I started stepping down as well, along with the flecainide. And I did it on my own without doctor.
I'm not the one who suggested that, just so you know. He did this on his own. And I'm not recommending people do that, because it really is good to have your physician on board. They don't have to be on board with your nutrition, because they were never taught this. This isn't their fault. Like I said, I went to college, I've been a doctor of pharmacy for 30 years now. I was never taught any of this stuff until I started learning about 4 years ago. So don't get irritated if your physician doesn't know what you're doing as far as your nutrition, but you do need to be in contact with them when you start want to get off the medications like this, so they can taper it down. Because some meds you can stop right away, some meds you can't. And the other thing is, when you're doing this like this, he is going to educate his physician so much when he goes back and his physician looked at the meds he was on, that he was increasing his doses and probably going to be getting ready to increase meds. And now it's going the exact opposite. His physician's going to freak out. And now he will have taught his physician something, and hopefully slowly we're going to start getting the brainwashing that the drug companies and food companies do to our physicians, and get them to where they really understand true health and not just giving medications to treat symptoms. Right. This is everything he was on was symptomatic treatment. None of it was trying to cure anything. You can only do that with giving your body the nutrients that your body needs. And get the toxins, all those toxins that we put in our mouth, get all those out of here. But anyway, I'm sorry.
No worries. I started stepping down on the flecainide. I had the 100 milligram tablets, and I was taking 1.5 of those twice daily. So at first, like the morning dose, I'd still take my 1.5, but the night dose, I'd drop down to just one tablet, like it was 100 milligrams instead of 150. And I was really scared to do that.
Yeah.
But I also could feel what was going on inside my body.
Right.
Like they say, your body better than anybody.
Without a doubt.
So as I started stepping down, I stepped down gradually. I did not just stop it.
Right.
Because even the doctors had told me before, whenever I was still having AFib and was just at my wit's end,
right.
They're like, well, we can change these meds, but we'll have to admit you to the hospital to make that change in case you go into cardiac arrest or anything like that.
Right.
And I'm like, well, it scares you to death.
Yeah.
Because you believe everything the doctor says.
Right.
So I started stepping it down. And as of about 3 months ago, I completely stopped on my flecainide.
Man.
I had gotten down to where I was taking 25 milligrams twice a day, and then I went down to 25 milligrams once a day.
How long in between these changes were you waiting?
I was doing it probably 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay, so you make a change, wait 3 or 4 weeks, make another change.
I really did. I went down gradually.
Good.
Just so that I would be able to feel if I started having problems.
Exactly.
I knew that if I started having problems, I could go back and start taking
the
meds again, just gradually increase them.
Right.
But I did not have any problems. I just, my AFib is non-existent now. And the PVCs are non-existent. My heart feels normal. My blood pressure I'm running this morning when I got up. I got it this morning just to check it before I came here.
Yeah.
Checked it. It was 114/70.
Oh my gosh.
With a pulse of 61.
And you've been totally off your blood pressure medications for how long?
About 4 months.
About 4 months. This gives me goosebumps. I would hope that this is giving you guys goosebumps too, to let you know this is not witchery. This is not some kind of crazy thing. All we're saying is go back to eating the way we've always eaten since the beginning of time. That's all we're saying. Real meat, real fruit, real vegetables. This isn't any kind of witchcraft or anything. It just avoiding all the brainwashing that we've been taught over the last 40, almost 50 years of the incorrect types of foods. So now, how much did you weigh when I first met you? Do you remember? You were still
I was right at 365. Okay. I believe whenever I started working with you.
Okay. And when Gary first came in, I'd never met him before, and he came in and he was large and he was walking with a cane, kind of hunched over, and walked very slowly. The guy that came to my door this morning was not the same guy. This is his younger brother, and you feel younger.
Absolutely.
So how do you feel? I mean, okay, most people when they go through diets, and again, this is not a diet. This is a lifestyle change. Once you realize how toxic these things are that are on the grocery store shelves, once you realize that, you can't go back. You would be crazy to go back when you start feeling like this.
Yep.
And so a lot of people, when they think of diets, they think of eating that same crud, just decrease the amount, and you got to exercise. No exercising, right? He's not doing any kind of exercising at all. You do not have to exercise to lose weight. Exercise is great.
Mm-hmm.
And as he loses more, we're going to probably talk about maybe, definitely moving, always moving.
Yeah.
Do you walk a lot more now?
I do walk a lot more now than I did.
Good.
I was very sedentary.
And you walk every day, kind of throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
See, and that's really all you need to do is move.
Yeah. I don't make a conscious effort to go out and walk at a track or anything like that. But I do a lot more walking in my work.
Yeah, and you have a farm, right? Or you have a farm or just chickens?
Just a hobby farm, basically. Yeah, we got a garden and chickens.
Still makes you get outside in the nice sunshine, the fresh air, moving your body. See, all this stuff is just wonderful. But anyway, I just want you to know, it is not about counting calories. Never. Did you ever count any calories ever through any of this?
Nope.
You don't have to count calories. It's not that hard. You don't have to exercise. In fact, if you don't have the energy, you definitely should not be exercising. Once you get the energy like this, you're going to say, oh my gosh, I've got so much energy. You almost don't know what you can do with it. And that's when you can come into doing like some resistance training, lifting stuff. But until you have the energy, and he probably thought he'd never have this kind of energy again, right? You thought
you basically did not.
He sent me a text that was horrible. I mean, he got to the point where he thought he was dying. He thought his life really was over. And then all of a sudden he did this. And I just absolutely love it. Yeah. So what was the hardest thing to change as far as what you used to eat and what you do not eat anymore?
Gosh, I was a junkie. I love my potato chips. I love my potato chips. love my donuts. I never really was that big on like chocolate bars or something like that. But when I first started this, good Lord, I started craving chocolate so bad. I wanted one of those giant Hershey's Symphony bars.
Oh my gosh, you would eat a whole bar?
Oh, at times, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Whenever I would get on a chocolate binge,
So what did you do for the chocolate bin? What did you do when that came up? Was there any? Just plain, just gritted through it, huh?
Eat some butter.
Yeah. How did you eat butter?
A lot of times I just go slice me a piece off the butter stick and eat it.
I know that would absolutely gross most people out, but once you find out, it does work. And they have some really good healthy butters now with grass-fed, grass-finished, cattle, and the not grass-finished, but grass-fed cattle. And they put salt in it too, like some salt in it. And so it makes it even better. And there are people. I've only tasted butter in 1 teaspoon one time just to see what it was like. And I was really surprised. It really wasn't bad at all.
Have you ever tried, they call it carnivore crack, where they take butter and they brown it in the skillet and then they put it on parchment paper and put a little bit of bacon crumbles in there?
No, I've heard of that, but we have not tried it.
You break it up like peanut brittle.
Really?
Yeah, it just cracks in little bite-sized pieces. Oh, so good.
We're going to have to get together, you and Teresa, and come up with these. We'll have to show you some brownies that she makes and this little creme brulee thing that she makes.
Yeah.
All protein. It's all egg whites, and it is amazing. We have it like all the time. It's a staple in our house.
Eggs are great.
Yeah, eggs are wonderful.
That's another good thing about having chickens is I've got a good supply of eggs. My chickens are slow right now with it being wintertime, and I've lost a few to attrition, but I've got some babies on the way, so they'll be here March 27th.
Good. So you can start giving us some eggs.
Absolutely.
Eggs are hard to find. It's really crazy, and you never know why they're really hard to find now. It's just, I don't know. Lots of stuff. They're going to the food manufacturers and sugar industry and chemical companies and big ag and pharmacy. They're going to try to do everything they can to keep you away from eating animal products because they don't make money off. They don't make money off healthy people. No. Now the drug company's not going to be making money off his medications. He's not going to be going to the doctor that much anymore. He probably won't be getting hospitalized, again, unless there's something major. But I mean, he's going to be saving himself lots of money and hopefully put them out of business. The industry's out of business. There was something else. What was something that you thought was going to be very, very hard, and it actually is like, well, that ended up being easier than I thought it was.
Well, giving up the junk food. At first, I'd say the first month or so was the toughest, like giving up the cravings,
Right.
like beating those cravings. I guess about 3 weeks in after starting eating this way,
Mhm.
the day four of it,
Yeah.
I felt horrible. I felt like I was just absolutely slowly dying, just
Yeah.
lethargic. My body was aching, had no energy,
Yeah.
and I just felt like I had the flu. I know they've described it as keto flu, but like you said, it's carb withdrawals.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to let you know, because a lot of people, when they start doing this, when they start getting healthy, they do, and someone has misnamed this keto flu. Keto flu means carbohydrate withdrawal. Carbohydrates are literally addictive, chemically addictive. They actually affect lots of things in your brain, but they actually affect the nucleus accumbens, which is the pleasure center in the brain. So as you start going off that, the pleasure center is wanting it back. And so you will actually go through withdrawals. It's not a keto flu; it's a carbohydrate addiction, a withdrawal. So if you realize that, then you can go through this. And it didn't. How long did it take you to get through the withdrawals?
No, it was about a day.
About a day. You
About
just
a
felt
day,
horrible,
I
and then all of a
felt,
sudden you start
yeah,
feeling better. Good.
yeah, I started feeling
That is
better
so
just
amazing.
the next day.
Yeah.
In fact, we were at Lebanon that day. My wife had a school trip. It was on a Saturday, and we met a friend of hers up there at a steakhouse there in
Mhm.
Lebanon. And of course, I ordered my ribeye steak and a
Yeah.
hamburger patty.
Yeah.
And
A steak and a hamburger patty.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
who would ever hear? I love doing
He's
stuff like
gonna
that.
die.
He's gonna die.
and that's exactly, well, she didn't say I was going to die, but the lady that was with us, she's like, "Oh, you got to watch that cholesterol. You're going to have a heart attack."
It's sad. It's not funny. That's not funny. I'm not laughing at the people, because of course everybody believes that, because that's what they've been told.
They've been indoctrinated.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Absolutely.
realize it's not true.
And it's still yet to this day, my own family, after sharing with my story with them about how much weight I've lost and how much better I feel and everything, they're still like, "Oh, you better watch your cholesterol."
Yeah. 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 It's
I'm like,
crazy. I mean, they've really forced this a lot.
yeah.
And again, they're forcing the cholesterol, even though there's no science behind it at all. High LDLs do not cause cardiovascular disease. It's proven over and over again. However, if they can say that it does, they can sell a lot of statins, and they're trying to put everybody on statins. I mean, they're putting people on statins that don't even have high LDLs, because they say, well, you're probably going to get it because everybody does. It's absolutely insane what's going on. So please don't. When you get your lipid panel, look at the triglycerides, the HDLs, and total cholesterol. Forget about the other stuff. It doesn't matter. There are extremely healthy, athletic people have LDL levels over 400. Okay. Just if you are truly using your fat as your energy source, which is exactly what we're doing, we're switching over from using glucose for your energy source to using your fat for your energy source, like God made us. That's why we have fat all over our subcutaneous fat cells. That's so we can store energy and then burn it when we need the energy. And that's what you want to do. And that's what he's done. Yeah. So anyway, just to get that cleared up.
Well, and I just lost a sister about 3 weeks ago to a heart attack.
Oh, I did not know that.
She had her first heart attack at 58 years old. My dad passed away at 58 from a massive heart attack. So, it's on a very personal level with me that my mortality could be at hand.
Yes. Yes.
So, and I want to hang around for my wife and my kids,
Yep. Yep.
So, but my sister, she'd had her first heart attack at 58 and was on a vent and was in bad shape. Didn't think she was going to make it through that, but she never would make the change in her life to get healthier, even afterwards. But she just passed away at 69 years old.
That's so horrible.
She existed for another 11 years, but never really lived because, pulling around an oxygen tank and just no energy, no health at all.
So horrible. I hate that.
So I didn't want to go down that road.
Yep.
Didn't want to go down that road. Decided it was time to change.
Yep. That is absolutely, absolutely fantastic. I was also going to ask you, what was it? Oh, as you're losing weight, Did it just continuously drop, or did you stall for periods
Oh, I
as you were losing weight?
definitely had stalls.
Okay.
I would be going along, and my worst mistake was jumping on the scale all the time.
Yeah.
And I tried just, I had to break myself of that.
Right. And if you want to do, but don't worry about the numbers. Even if those numbers go up, do not worry about the numbers. They will follow. So if you want to do that, just keep it out of your head. Look at it, but don't put any emotion to it. It's just it's body weight set point. And I've talked about this in past podcasts, but it is your body weight set point. You are trying to, as you try to, your body's used to this weight and it wants to keep you there. So as you start to lose weight, then all of a sudden your body's like, whoa, I need to get you back up here. So what it does, it slows your metabolism. So that's the worst time to exercise. That's crazy, but it's trying to get your body weight back up. And then it makes you extremely hungry because it's trying to get your body weight back up. So if you do this, if you eat right, if you eat healthy, as you come down, you're going to stall until all of a sudden you bring your body weight set point back down. And then you're going to go again. So really, if you're losing weight and you stall, that's a great thing. If you're doing it the right way and you stall, your weight just doesn't seem like it's going down. Keep doing what you're doing. It will, and be happy. It's like, oh my gosh, my body weight set point is resetting. So now I can start going down again. So when you would stall, like what was the longest period that you stalled where you just didn't see any weight loss at all?
My longest stall, it was in probably within the last 2 months.
Really?
Yeah, I hit where I was down 124 pounds.
Yeah.
And I stayed there for about 2 months.
About 2 months. See, it'll happen.
And I'm like, I started to get discouraged a little bit, but then I'm like, well, you feel so much better.
Yeah.
Just stay the course and keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I just stopped weighing myself.
Good. Good. Yes.
I felt better. My clothes fit better.
Yep.
I went down sizes in clothes.
Yeah.
And
I can't believe how you look. I mean, this is not the same man, because we don't work with each other anymore. But I knew that he was doing this, and I'll ask questions every now and then. But I haven't seen him since all this happened. We've done is talked, and this is. I didn't hardly recognize him when he came to the door this morning. It was so fun. It was so amazing. And the smile on his face, look at this thing. That is amazing, because he was not smiling that much when I knew him before. I mean, he was in pain and he was out of breath a lot. I mean, it was really sad. So this is, please take heed. This is not unusual. This is going on all the time. When people change their nutrition, they can get off these medications, they can feel great again, and actually get their life back. And it's so cool.
Well, just like what we're doing here, we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
When I was working with you, I was not standing for very long. I was finding me someplace to sit down.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I asked him. Was like, will you be able to stand through this? Because I was going to get him a stool if he wanted to sit. He's like, oh yeah, I can stand through that with no problem. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, my back would get to hurting, and my feet, my knees, and just start aching.
Yeah,
and feel like I had to sit down.
Yeah,
and take a load off. But
and a lot of people. And in fact, I was getting that way before I realized about this, and I wasn't real heavy. I definitely wasn't eating well, but I was definitely heavier than I am now. I was probably about 30 pounds heavier than I am now. But I would get up in the mornings and my feet and my ankles would hurt. And I kind of had to walk to kind of get my joints going.
Get everything popping.
Yeah. I'm assuming you were experiencing the same thing when you were heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Is that gone now? Or do you still get up and just?
I have my left knee, of course, is still a little bit worn, but I have stopped wearing the brace that I was wearing on my left knee.
Really?
I don't even have to wear it now. Having that weight off and feeling the difference in all of my joints.
Right.
I'd get up, my neck would be hurting, my back would be hurting, my hip. I couldn't sleep through the night because, I was rolling like a rotisserie.
Yeah.
Because of my joints and stuff hurting all the time. I can lay down now and wake up in the same position I fell asleep in.
That's crazy.
8 hours later.
That's crazy. Yeah. So you're getting good sleep.
I am getting great sleep.
Drinking good amount of water.
Lots of water.
No sugar, no soda pops, no nothing like that.
Nothing. I might drink a LaCroix.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like it
LaCroix's
is.
fine. LaCroix's are good.
I do drink a LaCroix every now and then, and black coffee.
Yep.
Sometimes if I drink black coffee, I'll put a little heavy whipping cream in it,
Uh-huh.
and even a little butter,
Right.
and froth that up.
Yep.
The frother, so good.
So about approximately, if you can remember, how many times over this last year did you cheat? And not cheat, but you just decided that you're going to have something that you knew you shouldn't have, but you wanted it.
Twice.
Only twice in the whole last year.
Only twice.
What were those?
Well, like right after, probably about 3 weeks after I started this diet, we decided to go to one of our favorite restaurants in Springfield.
Uh-huh.
And I was going to have my old standby, which was a half-pound bacon cheeseburger with a big old bowl of fries with it.
Yeah.
Seasoned fries.
Yeah.
They put a big onion ring on there, fried onion ring.
Yeah.
And I ate that, and oh my goodness, it tasted so good. It had me a couple of draft shock tops there with it.
Yeah.
But even the beer tasted bad.
Yeah.
The burger was great.
Yeah.
The beer was bad. It didn't taste good. But I'm telling you what, I was so sick for the next week.
Really?
I mean, it was a very short amount of time before I was in the bathroom after eating that meal. And it's just my body was just saying, no, you don't want this.
Yeah.
So I did not have another cheat day until Thanksgiving of this last year. And I did not really go all out and eat a full entire Thanksgiving meal like I always did before.
Probably couldn't.
I couldn't.
Know. Yeah.
I had the turkey and ham normal.
Yeah.
And then had a little spoon of like mashed potatoes and gravy and green beans, the green bean casserole.
Yeah.
Sweet potatoes, lots of sugar and all
right,
that stuff.
Right.
And I felt terrible after that.
Yeah. Yeah. I do the same thing.
I just decided, you know what? Eating that garbage makes you feel like garbage. So
yeah.
I'm done with it.
Yeah. That is wonderful. And again, just like he said, his favorite meal was this great big hamburger with what all would you put on it?
Oh, it had chipotle mayo.
Okay.
And it had a big old fried onion ring on there and just loads of cheese.
Yep. See, and really all that is fine. If he could have got that exact same burger and just say without the bun, which I do all the time, all the restaurants, they don't even question it. Just that, oh yeah, you can have that without a bun. And then instead of if you're going to have fries or something like that, or even the onion ring, the main thing with fries and onion rings is because it's what they fry them in. And most people, I mean, like 99% of the restaurants out there use these toxic seed oils. Ask them. It's going to be they're going to call it vegetable oil, but it's not really vegetables. That's just nomenclature to make people think it's a healthy thing, which it's not. And then that goes into vegetables too. But anyway, so they always fry them in seed oil. So that's the problem with having something like an onion ring fried in these seed oils. If they would fry it in tallow, which a lot of restaurants are starting to do now, which is awesome. But if they fry in that's not going to hurt you at all, And instead of getting fries, if the fries are going to be in seed oils, then that's fine. But it's still potato. There's still a lot of glucose, so it kind of depends on where you are on your health journey, whether you can add that. But for one meal, that's not going to hurt anything. Go ahead and do it. Just keep the bun out of there and try to keep the, what I do is I don't even get the fries. I just have steamed broccoli or whatever steamed vegetables they have, and that does perfectly fine because it's the burger and everything else that you're wanting anyway. The bun is just there to kill you.
Exactly. And that was another hard one for me to give up too, was breads.
Yeah, I bet.
I love bread.
Yep.
Go to Lambert's and have a couple of them big old throw rolls. Oh, they were good, but I don't miss them. Yeah. I really don't miss them now at all.
Yeah.
Because I know how bad I'd feel if I did use it. If I did eat it, and it's not worth it to me anymore.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Let's see, there was something else I was going to ask you. Did I ask you about what was easier, what you thought was going to be hard, and now it really wasn't that bad? Did I ask you that?
Something that had been hard for me to get used to was the amount of times you use restroom. Now it's like, you go like 3 days without using.
Right now you're doing that?
Yeah.
Well, you might want to increase your fluid intake.
And well, no, I'm not talking about urinary. I'm talking about
Okay.
the number two. The number
Yeah,
two.
the number two. Okay.
Because your body is using the nutrients
Yep.
and digesting that food to use the maximum amount
Right.
of nutrients out of it. So there's not that much waste. When you're eating better, you're using the better nutrients out of it. So there's not as much waste to come out.
And I did not tell him to say that. But that is so true. You will find they'll be regular, but you may not have one every day. But it's not constipation. You know, you can tell when you're constipated and you just can't get it. No, it's just nice, smooth. You just don't have, like you said, you don't have as much waste. Your body's actually using the nutrients you want. Because if you're eating all this crud, you're not giving your body any nutrients. So your body's like, one, it causes inflammation all over, which is part of why there's cardiovascular disease, along with the high sugars and the high insulin. Those three columns: high sugar, high insulin, and inflammation in your body. That's what's causing all this organ damage, and it's caused by this food. And this is how you get rid of it. I mean, it's that simple.
Fast food is called fast food for more than one reason.
That's right. It'll go through you pretty quickly.
So yeah, that was something that was hard to get used to. Thinking, man, I'm just not going to the bathroom. I'm bound up or something.
Yeah,
you know, and I didn't want to take something to get things moving, and just didn't need to.
Right.
So now it's the norm.
Yep.
You know? So that was hard to get used to. And the easiest thing to get used to was just feeling so much better.
Yeah.
And knowing that you're doing the right thing by eating the right amount, the right foods.
Right.
And it's crazy how much you can eat.
Mm-hmm.
You can eat more on this way of eating than you thought was ever possible without blowing up like a balloon.
Oh, I can easily eat 16 ounces of meat in one setting. That's no problem at all. But when you do that, it keeps you feeling full. So I'll eat a 16-ounce steak or hamburger or whatever. And then I could go all the way till the next day. Then 24 hours, I could easily go that. And I probably still wouldn't be hungry. I still eat because I'm trying to get more protein in, because I am, lifting and stuff. So I do 2 meals a day, really, 2.5 meals some days, but that's just so I can get enough protein in, because I don't want to stretch my stomach out with one big meal either. I want it to last, so I can get more protein in if I have, 2 or 3 meals, but I still eat in a very narrow window. But my window is probably about 4 to 5 hours that I eat those meals. And then the whole rest of the time, I don't eat anything. And again, it's be able to keep those insulin levels down. Mm-hmm. Although depending on what you eat, if you're just eating meat and fat, animal products, you don't have to worry about your insulin. Your insulin levels aren't going to go up. Oh, that's the other thing we were wanting to talk about. Everybody who thinks about losing weight, they think about being extremely exhausted, and they're worried about their blood sugar dropping. Is like, I can't go without carbs. My blood sugar will drop. No, if you are eating healthy, if the reason your blood sugar goes down below where it needs to be is because you're eating the kind of stuff that's making your pancreas produce way too much insulin. And if you're on any diabetic medications also work, most of them, by increasing your insulin. So that's the worst thing you could do, because when you do that, it's not regulating the way God made our bodies to. And so you can go low. You will get hypoglycemic. But when you eat this way, when you eat mainly animal products, you're not raising your insulin. Your body knows exactly where to keep your blood glucose. Believe it or not, God was extremely intelligent. He knows what our body, what it can do, and the nutrients you give it. Just like I said about infections, I've never, ever been hospitalized for an infection. I don't even remember last time I was sick. And in all honesty, I don't remember it. And now I'm assuming, did you used to get sick all the time? Like you said, you just had a little cold that just lasted
I would get sick and be sick for a month.
Yeah.
Just absolutely the chest congestion, the sinus infection, the ears, and lose my voice for a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Trouble breathing, trouble sleeping.
Definitely
can't get up and walk and move.
Yeah. It's crazy, because the longevity of when you do get sick, which was just recent, but it didn't last. It was, I probably felt really rough for about 4 days.
Yeah.
And then gradually started getting better.
Yeah.
So, but the longevity of being sick has decreased a
Right.
lot for me.
Yeah.
I had back in October, we got that new round of COVID that came through, and it made a trip through our house. Everybody got sick, and I was sick for quite a while with it.
Yeah.
But I think my body built up a resistance to that now, and then this last round we had, I never went to the doctor or anything like that. Didn't get tested. Just a sore throat, sinus, but it was short.
Right.
My mother-in-law was sick with it for about a month.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy. It's crazy. Give your body the nutrients. It knows how to fight infections. It knows how to fight this stuff. Not saying you'll never get sick, kind of depending on where you started and what's going on in your body right now. But definitely when you give your body the nutrients, you're going to get over it a lot quicker than the people who have these infections. They keep eating this toxic stuff that just feeds the bacteria, feeds the bacteria in your gut, feeds everything. So just stay away. The next thing, unless you had more to say.
No, I was going to ask you about these the weight loss shots, because they are putting these commercials on TV all the time for these weight loss shots, and it used to be just for diabetes, but now it's for weight loss.
Yeah. What it's for is the drug company's bottom line. These things are toxic. There are people that are losing their stomachs, they're losing part of their intestines, they're losing their colon, they're having Alzheimer's type, psychotic type symptoms right now. They're having thyroid cancer, thyroid C-cell tumors. They're having breast cancer. I mean, there's so many horrible negative things. And what it does is it malnourishes your body. Just because you keep food in your stomach instead of being in there for 1 to 4 hours, depending on what the food is you have, it'll keep it in there for like 3 or 4 days. So this food rots, and that's why they call Ozempic burps. You're burping up this rotted food in your stomach. You're not giving your body any nutrients. When you don't eat, you're not giving your body nutrients. It needs fat, it needs vitamins, minerals, and it needs protein. If you're not eating those things, it will get the fat out of your fat cells, but so does this. So does what Gary did. And that's the healthy way, because he's nourishing his body. But when you starve yourself by just keeping food in your stomach, your fat's going to come off. But what they're finding is your body uses a lot of protein. And if you're not eating it, and you're not going to get this from plants, this kind of protein from plants, if you're blocking your stomach the way you are, you've got to eat animal meat, because if it doesn't get it, it's going to get it from your muscles. It's going to start eating your muscles away. And that's what they're seeing with a lot of these people. Like almost everybody, the majority of the weight loss is from muscle loss. And that is not what you want, because especially as you get older, the most important thing you can have is make sure that you keep strong enough. So if you trip, if you fall, if you have to grab for something, if you need to help somebody out, you've got the muscles to be able to do that. You've got the flexibility, you've got the coordination, you've got the balance, you've got the strength to be able to keep you from falling. If you do fall, can you get up? I had a very close friend who fell and could not get up. They laid there until somebody came by because they were so large. This is no little thing. Okay. So you do not want to take drugs. If you're going to be taking these medications, take it for 1 or 2 months, depending. I mean, even somebody that was as large as Gary used to be, it didn't take that long for him to all of a sudden be able to change his habits and change his thoughts and get away from the toxic stuff. If you need a medication to get you over that initial hump, no more than 2 months. It really shouldn't take more than 2 months, and then get off that medication quick. That is not the way to do it. You're depriving your body of so many nutrients, and it is causing some severe, dangerous, lethal things to many, many, many people. So please don't fall for the drug companies' commercials and everything. They just want to sell a product. They want your money. Don't fall for it. I truly care about your health. That's why I got into this in the first place. So eat healthy, give your body nutrients. That's all we're saying. Real meat, real fruit, real vegetables. So
my last primary care doctor, which I changed about 6 months ago to a different, actually about 9 months ago, to a different primary care doctor. He was, the one I had before was trying to push Ozempic on me. and metformin said, "Oh yeah, you're pre-diabetic. You need to be on metformin, and you need to be taking these shots." And I'm like, well, "Okay, well, you can go ahead and prescribe it."
Yep.
So he'd prescribe it, but I'd never give him filled. That was just something that I would not. I'd heard too many horror stories about Ozempic.
Oh, there's hundreds of thousands of horror stories. This isn't.
Yeah.
This is no little thing.
And even the metformin, I had heard too many things about that. I'm not saying that, nobody should take it, but it wasn't for me.
Just to get you over until you realize, get your nutrition fix. And then just like Gary, you will be able to get off medication.
Right.
I've already had several interviews with people that write on my podcast that have already gotten off several medications. So this is wonderful. It's what you want to do.
Something else that I have noticed with this way of eating, so many different benefits to it, but even body odor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your armpits, your feet.
Yep.
There's not that issue anymore.
That is so funny. That's so funny. And I found the same thing. In all honesty, it's gonna sound gross. If you smell me now, I haven't worn deodorant in, I don't know, probably almost a year. Probably for the same reason. Yeah. When you eat clean, your body's not extracting all these toxins out of your body that reek. You eat clean, your body knows what to do. It's so that's funny you brought that up. I've never talked about that to anybody before.
It's a first.
Yeah. So what's your goal? What's your next goal? Because right now, mind saying what you weigh right now?
I weighed 234 this morning.
234 pounds. And your weight highest was 390?
380, yeah,
389.
Real close.
This is crazy. So what's your goal? Now that you know you can do it, what are you going to do?
Weight loss now is not a goal.
Yeah. Just keep living.
It's
exactly
living.
And that's living. Correct. Yep.
Instead of living to eat, I'm eating to live.
Exactly.
Because I care for my family. I want to be there for them as long as I can.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there's no going back for me. I'm not saying that there's not temptations.
Right.
Because, you can drive by somebody, that's got, or walk by or smell something like my son.
Yeah.
My son, him and his girlfriend will be at the house and they'll make some kind of dessert, and I'm smelling this cake or brownies or whatever. And that's a temptation.
Oh, yes, it is.
I just don't, I don't do it because I know what I'll feel like if I do.
Just out of curiosity, because I've talked about this before. What do you do when you smell that? Do you get in your head that, oh my gosh, that smells good. I bet that tastes good. Or do you like, no, I don't want it. Just like a light switch.
At first when you do smell this, like, oh, I bet that tastes great.
Yeah.
But then it's just like the immediate flip of the switch. Like if I eat it, you know what it's going to do to you.
Yep.
It's going to open you back up.
And it will. It's like giving a shot of whiskey to an alcoholic. They may have been sober for 5 years. You give them some whiskey and bam, they go back. And carbohydrate addiction is no different. You really got to be careful of what you do. You can think about it, but do not put emotion to it. Once you put emotion to it, you're done. Yeah. And once you start getting your head, oh, that smells good. And so baked this, so I probably should do it. You start doing what you're doing is you're convincing yourself that you're going to eat it. And that is, it's so much easier to just say, no, I don't want it. And just leave. It's so much more refreshing to your brain.
That Carrie from Healing Humanity,
Mm-hmm.
You've seen his videos and stuff. He described it. He's like, his family is like, well, now that you've gotten where you want to be, you can start reintroducing this stuff just in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, do you tell a coke addict to reintroduce cocaine?
Right. Exactly.
Just do it in moderation.
Exactly. Yep.
He's like, why do it?
Right.
Why open yourself up to that? So
I agree. And like you said, once you get the energy and you feel better all over, it's just going to make it easier not to do it.
Absolutely. I just don't want to be there.
Yeah. So I guess that's really, what do you have? Is there anything else that we haven't talked about? Let's see. Right now, is there anything you think of that you want to tell people who think that their life's over? They just can't, they don't move like they used to. They're on more and more medications. I mean,
all I can say is make the change. Subscribe,
Subscribe. That's
to
right.
Dr. Hewlett's and do your research.
Yeah. Don't take my word for it. Please
No,
look this stuff up.
absolutely.
Because you will find this information is everywhere. It is everywhere,
Mhm.
but you have to look for it, because the things that come to you that you're not looking for is marketing. It's marketing from the drug companies. It's marketing from the food companies. I mean, look at your commercials. You know that. That's not where you're going to get your health information. That is not health. That's not health by any means. Food companies are killing us, and the drug companies are treating symptoms. The only thing that's going to treat the underlying cause, the actual condition, where you can reverse your diabetes, reverse your high blood pressure, reverse your cardiac issues, reverse your psychology issues. I mean, kidney, liver, fatty liver, all this can be reversed as long as you haven't gotten too much organ damage. But even if you do have organ damage, switching over and eating healthy will help you so much better. Even if you get cancer, eating healthy is going to make you go, if you choose to go through the treatments, it's going to make you go through the treatments a lot easier. And for a lot of people, you're going to find out sugar and insulin, that's what feeds cancer.
Absolutely.
So when you eat healthy, it's a good chance you could either reverse cancer and definitely prevent you from ever having it. So just beware that a lot of things that you're being told without you going and looking on your own is going to be false information. So even when you start researching, look at who did the study, look who funded the study. Because if it's from a food company or drug company, that study is not a study that you want to think is
Right.
a truthful study, because chances are it's not.
Well, and also I think that one thing whenever I first started doing this is I would share with people, hey, I'm doing this way of eating, and there's going to be so many naysayers out there
Yes.
that try to say, oh no, you're that's crazy.
Right.
That's not a sustainable way of eating.
Right.
You're going to have malnutrition. Your cholesterol's going to be through the roof.
Yep.
You're going to have a heart attack. You're going to die.
Yeah.
So once I started losing a lot of weight, and people are like, "Wow, boy, you're looking really good."
Yeah. What are you doing?
And what am I doing? Well, do you really want to know?
Yeah, really.
Will you listen to me instead of cutting me off and telling me what I'm doing is stupid? So,
Exactly.
So yeah, when you share with them, they're still going to be your naysayers that are like, that's crazy.
Yep. Yep.
You're a ticking time bomb.
Yeah. And actually, if you don't change, you are a ticking time
Absolutely.
bomb. You really are. So you've got to change your nutrition. And just like you said, and we know, I mean, it's very common. Anytime somebody starts doing something good with their life, whatever they're changing for the better, you're going to have a lot of people telling you that that's not a good thing to do, because now all of a sudden your life's getting better and their life is still the same, so now they feel bad. And so they want to make you feel bad. I mean, that's just natural. That's common. Even within families, I've got family members that are extremely unhealthy and they still won't do this for whatever reason. I can't force them. They know if they want to do it, they know where to come get some answers, so I'll just wait until they ask. But while I'm waiting, I've got these awesome people who do listen and do totally change your lives. And you have no idea the people that you came in contact with that you're changing their thoughts and their lives, that you won't even know about it until later. They'll come up to you and say, I just want you to know, I saw what you did. I want to do the same thing. And now I feel great. And that's wonderful when that happens. And we've had that happen to us so many times that you don't even know who is watching. Right. And all of a sudden they just change their lives.
Well, it's, like we hadn't worked together for a while, and I got to thinking after I was doing this for a while and seeing the results, I texted you and told you that I wanted to thank you for, help get me on the right path.
Yeah. And I love those things. I live for those things. When people email me, or if they send me something through Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, when they send me this information on the medications they've been off, the weight they've lost, how great they feel, the energy they have, I get goosebumps every single time. I mean, I absolutely love. I've helped so many more people in the last 4 years than I did the entire 29 years I was a doctor of pharmacy. So this is no little thing. It's great. And I just love this. You're just, I love looking at you. Every time I look at you, it just makes me smile again.
just to share, when I was working with Steve, my scrubs my scrubs were a 4X. A 4X.
Really? Your scrubs are
I was
4X?
wearing a size 4X scrub.
I can't even imagine.
I have 1X.
Really?
Just extra large scrubs now, and they are actually getting baggy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I have hit like a weight loss stall, my body is still transforming.
Yep. Yep.
These bib overalls that I got on right now,
Yep.
these are size 42s.
Really?
I had to wear a size 58. My last
size 58 and your size 42
my
now.
last size was a size 58, and I couldn't even keep the buttons buttoned on the side of them.
That is crazy.
So,
in less than a year.
In less than a year.
That is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love it.
It's great.
Yeah. And that's a good way to do it. You know, instead of getting on the scale, just put on some clothes that you would love to be able to fit in, and then just keep trying them on as you start going through this, because that means a lot more to people than anything, you know, just wearing stuff that they've always, just like Leanna, the girl that I interviewed also, you know, she couldn't fit in her wedding dress. She had a wedding dress and it was tight on her. It was tight. She was heavier. 3 years later, she couldn't even put that wedding dress on. She was working with us. She started the exact same time Gary did. And now she sent a picture of her in her wedding dress, and she is so thin. She looks way better than she did when she was first getting married.
That's awesome.
And again, the biggest thing is this smile, this radiance of energy and pride. I mean, in their pride, don't you feel so much better about yourself knowing you did this?
I absolutely love it. I love it. People like, man, you look good. I'm like,
thank you. I feel good. Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. Yeah, I went up to see our kids last weekend. We went up to Marshall to see our daughter and her husband, and my son-in-law was like, "You look like a new man."
Yeah,
he's like, "You melted. Where's the old Gary at?"
Yeah,
and I'm like, down the road.
Right. He was in here the whole time. I just couldn't find him.
Yeah, we messed around outside for a long time and goofed around. And he's like,
which you never could have done before.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd have been sitting in there on the couch.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And probably dozing off and sleeping.
Right, with a bag of chips in your lap.
A bag of chips, yeah, exactly.
Or donut.
Give me a chicken tender and some donuts. That'll be good.
That's right. And really, trust me, when you start eating clean, the cravings definitely go away. I don't even want to touch anything that's made by man anymore. It's just, and it's not hard. It's not hard at all.
No.
Well, Gary, thank you so much for coming on this podcast. I seriously have. I've been so excited. Last time I talked to him, he was down 124 pounds, and that was just a few weeks ago. So you started back on. You started losing weight.
Another 10 pounds. It was like all at once. That plateau I broke through.
Right. And the plateau lasts about 2 months this time.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did.
So stick with it. Just stick with it.
Absolutely. But my body was still going through the healing process and transformation.
Yep.
And my set point, like you said, the body weight set point finally broke through.
Yep.
And I started dropping again. So like I said, I'm not really worried so much about losing weight now.
Right.
Would I like to lose a little bit more? Sure, I would.
Yeah.
You know, I still got a belly here a little bit, but you know, at least I'm not drooping everywhere.
Oh no. And you will too. And you better keep in contact with me. I know we will. Of course we will.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. This absolutely gives me goosebumps. I just love hearing this kind of stories. So that's all we have for today. I hope you got some kind of feeling, something hit you emotionally about this, that you would like to make this change too. And it really isn't hard. And please, if this helps you, I've got lots of podcasts. I don't even know what this one is. It's probably 122 or something podcast. And then my book, Your Plate is Your Fate, but it's just not me. I mean, research it on your own. There's a ton of, as you can see, the library behind us. I read all the time. I'm constantly learning more. Once I found out how to actually get people healthy and not just treat symptoms with drugs, my life changed. Other people's lives are changing, and I will continue to read. I will continue to put out podcasts and let you guys know. As I learn it, you're going to learn it also. So as always, thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic week. And as always, make simple, healthy choices to live a quality life.